Alright, so gonna try and make a video on a fairly new concept I have called the Bird-Shit Theory of Objectivity. Right? It's new, but I think there's something here, and I think that if people learn it, and if I kind of live into it, what I find for me is like a sense of power, a sense of possibility of authority, meaning like agency. I can create things. I find opportunity. I move more boldly when I believe this theory of objectivity, the Bird-Shit Theory of Objectivity. And so just kind of like stick with me. I'm going to tell a story and then hopefully create some context as to how and where this is all coming from, right? But I found, so this shirt, the Armada by the Sea, was the motel that my family would go to every summer. And I remember one time, I might have been 8 or 7, but young, I was having breakfast out on this, like, there's like a patio deck on the first floor, kind of had like a AstroTurf meets putting green, but weird, like you wouldn't want to fall on it. It was rough vibe with benches, and these weird kind of like concrete tables. Anyway, I was having breakfast with my grandmother. We went out, we had these bowls of cereal. It was a beautiful day. The seagulls were chirping. We were sitting there, I don't know, thinking about the plan for the day maybe. And then out of nowhere, these birds fly overhead and a seagull shits in my grandmother's cereal. It didn't hit her. I kind of wish that it had, but it landed in her cereal. When I say I wish that it had, it might make the story better, but in her cereal. Remember this vividly. Milk splashes out. My grandma is startled and surprised. I think it's crazy. Bird has never pooped so close to me in my entire life. I'm a child at this point. And the thing that blew my mind of it all was how somehow this was supposed to be good luck. Like, my grandmother was excited and said, "Ooh, we got to go to Atlantic City tonight." But seriously, and that's a different story. I don't recommend that if a bird shits on you that you go to Atlantic City or any casino or buy a scratch off. That is not what this theory is getting to, but the thing that triggered in that moment was like, how can a bird shitting on you or near you be a sign of good luck? That sounds preposterous. I'm a child, and even I realize that like bird pooping on you shouldn't be a good sign, but apparently it was. And so I don't think about it really probably ever, but always kind of remember it as like a funny story or a thing that happened once. And then I start to hear people say things like, "Oh, this is good luck." Like a bird, you got pooped on. Don't worry, that's good luck. And I think about it more, and then probably like over the last 5-6 years or so, I started reading a lot of like psychology, a lot of philosophy, like books on biographies of like super successful entrepreneurs or like the people who built America. And there were some themes that have kind of shown up through it. And all of a sudden, I fundamentally, completely, 100% believe that if a bird were to poop on me, that is a great sign. That is, it calls for me to be excited and believe fully that good things are about to start happening. And what I hope to unpack over the next little while, a couple minutes, is why I think that and why I believe it so completely. And it has very little to do with the fact that my grandma thought that she should go to Atlantic City and probably end up losing money, and has everything to do with two like fundamental and really concrete worldviews that I believe in. I think probably most people do as well. One is the idea of Stoicism, right? Stoic philosophy. Read a lot of books by Ryan Holiday, who's really diving deep on Stoicism, but like the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius is the concept of Stoicism, right? The other part is what, at least for this video, I'm going to call observation bias. I don't know if that's actually what it's called, but the idea is that you see what you're looking for, right? So the two things, right? Stoicism, which is this philosophy that says there are events, and then there are our responses to the events, and we can only really control the response. Incredibly powerful. I used to think that Stoicism was like you would say, oh man, that guy's stoic, quiet. Not the case. Stoicism is a form of philosophy, and I think it's very, very powerful. I completely recommend the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, or if you want a starter kit, Obstacle is the Way, Ego is the Enemy, to Ryan Holiday books that are fantastic and give great concrete stories around these leaders and historical characters who have lived a stoic life. Very powerful concept, very powerful worldview, and I believe it. There are things that happen, and then there are our responses to it. The other is this idea of observation bias, or if you're looking for something, the likelihood that you see it is higher. And so, like, if I were kitschy, or if I had, thought of it enough, I'd probably say, like, look for yellow books behind me, and then if there were cut scenes, those yellow books might change, and you wouldn't have noticed it if I didn't say anything about yellow books, and then all of a sudden they're in different spots, and you see it because you've been primed to look for it. The other obvious example is, like, if you buy a car, or your parents buy a car, or you're considering something like a car, and now all of a sudden you look out on the street and that car is everywhere. You notice it all the time. Nothing has changed fundamentally about the community you live in, or the amount of Jeep Grand Cherokees that are in your neighborhood, but now you're primed to see them, and so you do. And so these two things together are why I believe that this Bird-Shit Theory of Objectivity is very real and can be very powerful, right? So what it allows you to do then is, like, remove good or bad from the concept that a bird has just shit on me, right? So actual bird shit is here on me. This was not part of my plan, but it has happened. And so now what do I see here? What do I choose to believe has happened? Well, I'm going to say it's a good thing. It's a good thing. And now, because I'm priming myself that this is a good sign, I'm going to see good things, and I'm going to be able to then validate the belief that this is a good sign, because now I'm looking for proof that it was. And I can already kind of assume some responses here, and one is like, that just sounds like being naive or being just blindly optimistic, and I say, no, that's not what I'm arguing. What I'm arguing is be pragmatic, right? So let's just think about what the alternative is. The alternative is feelings of bad, right? So like down energy things. Bad luck, just my luck. Everything works against me. The world is out against me. That bird has it something they specifically chose to shit on me on purpose because he knew that this was going to ruin my day, and my day is now awful. And watch all now because I'm believing that, look around, and all of these other things are validating how awful life is and how bad things are, because now I have to, I don't know, change my shirt or throw this shirt away, put something, I don't know, right? But oh, how bad it is. And I wonder how that makes you feel. And I wonder how you show up, how you are to friends, family, work, when you believe that the shit on you is a bad thing. What are you like? Now, if you were to just turn it around and assume for a second, objectively, there was shit on me, I did not plan for this, haha, but, well, there's shit on me, so now I have to figure this out. I wouldn't want poop on me for a long time, so I would try and change. I'd maybe buy a new shirt, I'd walk into a new store, I get to meet these new people, right? I get to tell a sometimes funny story about how I just got shit on, and someone's gonna tell me, oh, it's good luck, and I believe that as well, because of course it is, and I got to meet you. How great is this day already that, like, I've been pooped on and I met you. Oh, what do you do, Tony? Good story, good question, let's talk about it. And all of a sudden, like, there's this great opportunity to tell a story. I think it's not optimistic blindly. I don't think it's naive. I think it's actually pragmatic. I think that when you choose how you see things and show up like you actually believe it, there's some really powerful and good things that can come of it. And so if you are feeling pause, I hear that as well, but my last thing I want to say is, like, you don't have to trust this at all. There's a great distinction made by a guy named Stephen Chandler, difference between trusting and testing, and I would say don't trust this. Don't trust anyone. Don't trust any concept that you read or watch or hear about on the internet or anywhere, but definitely try and test it. And if this is something you want to test, easy as like journaling, right, at night. Here's what happened today, objectively. Emphasis on objectively. Not good, not bad, not otherwise. These actual things definitely happened. And then choose how to tell the story in an appreciative way, right? So, and I appreciate that that happened because here's these new things that I got to experience because of these actual objective, real things that happened. Choose to see it in a good light. Choose to identify as a good sign, like an omen that good things are to come, and you will start to validate it. You will seek out evidence that supports your belief that good things are to come. And what do you know? Good things will come. And if you agree, or if you have some other, like, we want to challenge it. I mean, I would love for commentary. I'd love for your feedback. I would love for you to do a week worth of journaling and observing and tell me how it goes. But generally speaking, like, it's not new, right? None of this is new. I just think it's a pretty funny Bird-Shit Theory of Objectivity, the BS Theory of Objectivity. If you believe it, great. I would definitely just say test it, and then tell me how the test goes. So hopefully that makes sense. If nothing else, it was a funny story, and I wore this shirt from the site of the very first time I saw a human get pooped on or near, and I think that's kind of fun. So talk soon. Let me know how it goes.